Hello everyone, this is PHTV4. I'm Sue Jankowski. Welcome to Meet with Moraine, where we talk about all kinds of interesting things about Moraine Valley Community College, which is located in Palos Hills. Today we have Krista Appelquist with us. Welcome, Krista.
Thank you.
So nice to have her here. And this is really exciting too because she is the communications professor and speech and debate team coach. So I mean, that is a very big role, and I think communications is so important, particularly in today's world. So before we get started on that, though, Krista, I would love to know about your background a little bit and what brought you to Moraine Valley.
Well, I had finished my master's degree in communication and rhetoric studies at Northern Illinois University, and I had coached the speech and debate team there because I had competed previously in college. And when I saw the job, this is back in 2000, so this is 25 years ago, when I saw the job offering at Moraine Valley, and they said they were looking for a communications professor, and I saw forensics experience preferred. Forensics refers to speech and debate. And I said, oh, that's my chance. And so I interviewed, not expecting to get it, but I did great in the interview, and then I started there in 2000. And we teach, we teach public speaking classes, and I actually teach an argumentation course as well. And then we coach and direct the forensics team, speech and debate, as an extracurricular, but a very serious extracurricular. It's like a sports team.
Okay. Well, so you've been there for quite a while.
Yes.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And you had the experience, so I can see why, this was important to you and important to Moraine Valley to get you to sign on. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'd like to know about teaching communications, because at the school, is this like kind of like a required thing? The reason I'm really interested in that is because with people today, and I will say all age groups, the communication is a lot of this. And, to actually be verbal and discuss things is so important. And so your role as a communications professor would be really, really important. Is this like a required kind of course that they need to do to get a...
For almost every degree and certificate, and of course for a bachelor's degree anywhere, the communications or basic public speaking course is required. And there's a lot more than just talking to peers and talking to a teacher. Students learn a lot of critical thinking in this course. First, information literacy, how to evaluate their sources of information.
So important.
They learn about media bias and different perspectives and what is considered a legitimate and qualified source of information. Then they, of course, have to learn to put that information into a presentation. So they've got to organize their thoughts. And then comes that hard part that is getting lost in this generation, actually verbalizing their ideas to a live audience sitting there listening. And it's a course almost nobody looks forward to, public speaking, but at the end of it, they feel pretty empowered. They say, I didn't think I could do that, but now I can.
And that's so important for them to be able to do that. I mean, I remember having courses like that, and yes, you're nervous. Mm-hmm. But as time goes on, do you find them finding their comfort place?
Absolutely. Exposure is a big part of overcoming the nervousness. Just doing it over and over again, being there in front of an audience. One day something clicks in and you realize I have a message to bring to these people, and it's important, and what I have to say matters. It's not about me and being judged or being perceived. I need to focus on my message. And the point of the course is to kind of get them there. So.
That, I think, is very, very important. And as I said, and today where you want to be able to have a conversation with someone even if you don't agree, and make your point and have someone listen to you and take it all in. It doesn't mean they have to agree.
And I feel like we've become so much more divided than I've ever seen in my life before as a society, and we've lost that ability. But the class fosters that a lot. You have to listen to a lot of different perspectives and a lot of different viewpoints.
Yeah. Well, I can say that it seems very, very important right now, so I'm glad that that's still a viable, important class that is actually required. That's really great. And then what do you enjoy most about that part of your role?
It really, I of course think the most important thing is the curriculum, the learning the art of persuasion and argumentation. That is what's most important to me. But what's most important to the students is the confidence that they leave the class with. They say, I didn't think I could do this. It's this big achievement to them to stand in front of an audience and deliver a message and to get through it. Sometimes they can't sleep the night before, but they feel that that is so empowering. And I think that's the biggest pleasure I get, is watching them succeed. I knew I was meant to be a teacher because my first job was teaching. It was teaching swimming lessons to little kids in a pool.
Oh, yeah.
And that was that moment when I had my first kid actually swim across the pool by himself. He didn't need me anymore. And he grabbed the edge of that wall and he looked at me and he grinned. That was our success. Mm-hmm. And that feeling is so addictive. It's the same feeling I get when they sit down in their desk and they gave that presentation and it went well and they just look at me. I'm like, yeah, you did it.
I did it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And that is very satisfying. And as a instructor, teacher, professor, you feel so good that your message has gotten across. They feel good, you feel good, and that is the perk of education.
I would say that is the reason why I do it. Yeah.
That's very good. Well, okay, so now that some people are learning to communicate, you are the coach of the speech and debate team.
That's right.
So for starters, do a lot of the students in the regular communications class say, hey, I like this, I can speak, and then they go on to be part of that speech and debate team?
That is, yeah. A lot of our recruitment comes from the class. They say, because I mention, what we do, and sometimes I'll bring in students from the team, and they say, that looks like fun, I want to join. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the recruitment comes from high schools. So people who've already done competitive speech and debate at high school, and then they were looking for it, here at Moraine Valley. And I'd say the team is about half and half. So I get the team together and about half of them have no competitive speaking experience at all and about half do from high school. And at the end of the season, they're all doing equally as well. So
okay, it's just a little bit of a learning curve there probably.
Yes, a little more so.
Yeah.
But the kids help each other a lot.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's good. Yeah. So is your role as coach, I guess for our viewers, like what's involved? I mean, you're competitive, so who are you competing with? And what's the direction like? What's the topics? Like what do they do?
Yeah, how do we work?
Yeah.
One of the best analogies for how a competitive speech and debate team works is to compare it to a track team. You know how if you join a track team, you don't just run. There's all these different track events. There's hurdles, there's the sprinting, there's the 440 medley, there's the long jump, there's shot put. Well, in competitive speech and debate, there's 11 different speaking events plus debate. So we've got events that involve competitive drama. So they might be reading a 9-minute monologue, a published monologue, and competing in a drama event, or poetry. Then some of the events are what you think of when you think of public speaking, speeches that we've written and researched. So persuasive speaking, informative speaking, humorous speaking. And then we've got the limited preparation events where they have 2 minutes, a note card and a pen, and they're given a topic. Go.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So so my job is to match the students to the events that they're best at, just as a track coach would put, the right people in the right events. And they, of course, explore different things, and they say, I hate this, and, I love this. And some don't love the writing aspect, so they like the limited preparation, the exciting one. And then what we do is kind of, again, analogous to sports. There are all these regional tournaments, some at universities, some at community colleges. We go to both. We compete with universities. We're all mixed in. And we actually host a tournament. And the tournaments, again, are kind of like track meets where it's not just one college we compete against. There will be 10 or 15 colleges at one tournament. And then just like flights in a track meet where you might have, 18 people in a 100-yard dash, but they go off 6 at a time. Well, we've got classrooms with informative speakers going off 6 at a time with the judges in each room, persuasive speakers at a different time going off 6 at a time, and so on and so forth. And in their prelim rounds, they're trying to get a very good score. They're ranked 1 through 6, so they're going for that 1. And then they make it to semifinals and then finals and at these large tournaments. So, and some tournaments are more competitive and bigger than others, and some are easier.
So that sounds really exciting. I had no idea there was like a drama part and a poetry part.
Right.
I knew about the other parts. So that's kind of good because some people would have like a strong poetry part, but maybe they're not so good at the, debate part.
Right.
So getting into the debate part, let's talk about this for a second, because I always love a good debate. That's fun to listen to and even participate in. But do they get a topic prior to the debate, or is the topic given to them? There's the topic. You're pro. You're against.
To make it even
How does that work?
more complicated, there's several different types of debate. Some have one resolution or topic at the beginning of the year, and that's what they work on all year. The way we do it in our region, we do a type of debate where they get a debate resolution, so kind of a controversial topic, and it'll say something like AI in the college classroom has more benefits than harms. Go. Okay, and then they have 30 minutes each debate, so they go one-on-one, so each person has 30 minutes to prepare their case, and then they meet in the classroom and they debate in front of the judge. So, and then the judge has all these kind of criteria that they're looking for and things like that, and they take turns. It's extremely civil. When my students are like, "Did you watch the presidential debates?" I go, "No, because that's not debate. That's showmanship. I don't know what that is. I don't even recognize
yelling.
that." Right. It is very civil. Sportsmanship is priority, and they of course talk in turn. They are actually timed. You'll disqualify yourself if you talk out of turn. So
good.
We don't have to mute mics.
No, that's good. Okay, so you might get a role where you really feel very passionately pro something, but you get the con side.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we pick debate topics where there's ground on both sides, where it's fair. And that's part of our job, actually, as coaches, is we have to write these debate topics and get them ready to go.
Okay,
So.
How often do we have these tournaments?
Oh, okay. Typically at the community college level, once a month and maybe twice a month in March is the tournament. So we practice, we get the team going by first week of September. We practice and practice and practice. The first tournament is actually one we're hosting at our college, and that's at the end of October. And then it's about one tournament a month. And that's partly a funding issue. We go to as many as we can afford to. Mm-hmm. And it's also, a stress and exhaustion issue, because it can get exhausting, and they do have classes and things like that.
So this is a kind of an extracurricular thing.
Very much extracurricular, but I tell students when they join, I go, on the first day, on the first meeting, I go, you did not just join a club. This is not a club. You just joined a sport.
Oh, yeah.
It's an intellectual sport, but we are competitive, we are driven. Not everybody can necessarily make the team. You've got to prove yourself. But we are doing this as a competitive activity.
And I would think that there would be some team spirit involved in this, because you're kind of cheering your group on. You want to win.
It's weird. Like in track, they also are competing against each other. So sometimes we're driving the van to a tournament, and I go, I don't know who's going to win persuasion, but I've got 3 amazing persuaders in this van, and they're only going to pick one winner. They might be sitting next to their competition. Yeah. And this team I have this year, we're carrying about 15 students right now.
Wow, that's a nice group.
And they are already such close friends. They are so supportive of each other, and they are cheering each other on. That's not always the case. I have seasons where this is a very ego-driven activity, and you need to learn how to be in a team and how to be bested by somebody else and how to take that loss and how to go work on your own stuff. And because that happens sometimes, somebody will beat the other person, then the next tournament they turn around and beat them. Mm-hmm. So, and that's a good lesson in maturity and humility, and also hard work.
It is, and with team sports too. I mean, basketball, soccer, whatever. Somebody might be scoring all the goals,
yep.
but you're not, and
right.
You're like, oh, I wanted to score the goals, but you've got to cheer your team on. So this is good. I would always love to see more like, there's cheerleaders for basketball and football, and you've got all these other entities, whether it's drama or orchestra or whatever, and you like to see some of those things get that same kind of cheering. I don't know if do the parents come to this? Is there like a little bit of a cheer squad there?
I was just picturing cheerleaders in a debate round, and I love it. I love it. I picture like as soon as their time's over, great use of evidence, rah. Like I would love that, you know.
That'd be great.
That would be amazing. Moraine Valley celebrates us a lot. First of all, they market us, you know, really well. We do have a huge event at the end of every year. It's a tradition that was started by the other coach, John Nash, called the Night Before Nationals, where we invite all the parents, family, friends, and they get up on a stage. And of course, our communications and our IT and our marketing people have us all mic'd up, and it's all professional and everything. And the students perform for everybody. And that's when their speech is at its best. And then we also do little shows on campus. And we also perform for the faculty. During one of our faculty development days, they let us have a session where they get to perform their stuff. And there's a lot of support from faculty. And I just feel like our program is celebrated at Moraine.
Oh, that's wonderful to hear.
But
That's
you're
good.
right, you have to keep it, we have to stay on the radar because we're not a soccer team. If a soccer team were to disappear, people would notice. But not everybody knows about speech and debate. Programs die all the time. Moraine's been going strong for 25 years, but other colleges, if the coach quits, sometimes they just don't replace them and the team just kind of dissolves. Not for any nefarious reason, just that, again, it's that visibility. We have it at Moraine. You know, I'm here now on TV talking about it. So that's we have to keep relevant.
Yeah, that's great. Do you have any trouble recruiting people to be in the?
No. In fact, you know, it's hard to carry more than 10 or 12 students on the team, okay? And we become really popular. People talk about it and they recruit their friends, and then their friends find out. They see these amazing posters that we have all along the campus walls. They hear about it, and no, people ask, how do you recruit? I'm like, I don't recruit. Because first of all, we're very education first. So I don't just comb the high schools looking for their top people. I don't do that. We take anybody who walks by our office who wants to join. Even if they have zero experience, even if their skill level is really low to start. Because we believe if you coach with us regularly like you're supposed to, we can elevate you to where you need to be. And we would let a person be on the team even if they never won a single trophy, as long as they're doing the right things and working hard. Okay, but that's a lot of work, a lot of stress.
Yeah, that would be.
You know.
Yeah, especially if you're not succeeding the way you thought you might.
Right.
That's got to be difficult. And so do you have, I know it's kind of, you know, they might be given a topic or be in a certain section as you think, you know, they might do the best in it. But are there certain people who just like, I just only want to do drama, or I just only want to do debate? And are they allowed then to just do that?
Absolutely. We let them do what they want. And I absolutely have that. I've got the drama people, and I've got my debaters, and I've got my platform speakers. They do persuasion and public speaking. And you can see the difference sometimes. Sometimes the drama people tend to be a little more eccentric, you know, and then of course even in conversation they can be a bit moody, you know, and I can sometimes pick up on it. I'm like, hey, have you tried dramatic interpretation?
Might be your bad.
Yeah, so there are so many different personalities, and there's sort of an event for each person.
Yeah, I would think they would be. So with the nerves that come along with a regular communications class and being required to do things, there's still going to be nerves because, of course, you're being judged. And anytime you're being judged on something, you know, you're going to have a little bit of nerves. But do they kind of conquer that nerve and get comfortable by the end of, I assume it's like a 2-year thing because Moraine Valley is, maybe kind of people come and go in 2 years. So it's a 2-year group of people.
Yes. So the eligibility for community college, they actually recently raised it to 3 years. So I can have students for 3 years because there's a big percentage of students that don't complete their associate's degree in 2. A lot of people take 3.
Okay.
Just because they are involved in activities and they're working. And so the eligibility is now 3 years. But I actually have a student who's in her 4th year at Moraine. So we can only travel with her to the university tournaments. So she just can't go to the community college tournaments, which is fine. And okay, when it comes to nervousness and public speaking, I have got to give these students credit. I mean, not only are they creative and they're smart, but they are bold. I mean, most people fear this, public speaking, more than death. And they're like, where do I sign up? You know,
nervous.
But they are nervous.
Yeah.
All public speakers are nervous, even professionals, even celebrities, politicians, they get nervous. That's always going to be a part of it. It's about learning to control the nervousness so your adrenaline isn't taking over your brain so much that you lose your words. It's about controlling it down to this positive, excited adrenaline, kind of like Christmas morning type of thing. And you get there through repeated preparation, out loud practices, visualizing yourself actually doing it, and of course exposure, just giving speech after speech after speech until your brain sort of accepts that this isn't the threat that you thought it was. But then you still always have that little bit of nervousness. It's always with you.
Do you find that since you've been doing this for a while and you've got a lot of experience personally doing this, do you find that because so many people who have grown up with iPads, cell phones, that they're constantly filming themselves and they're constantly taking pictures of themselves, that they are maybe a little bit more comfortable, or that's still different than being live
That
with somebody?
was my presumption. I'm like, this generation, because we do record ourselves. In the public speaking classroom, the speeches are recorded so that they can watch them later and say, okay, how did I do? I totally would have assumed that this generation is like, oh yeah, I'm recording myself constantly, or I'm on a FaceTime constantly.
Right.
Nope, they still get so nervous. They're like, because that's different, they say. It's not me standing up giving a researched presentation to my class. That I'm not used to being recorded in that way. And they're like, I won't watch it. I'm not going to watch that video.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's good to know, because I just assumed, they've grown, they were babies like recording themselves,
Yes.
so I figured, it's not a big deal for them, but it still is.
It still is, yeah.
Well, it's different when you're actually faced with faces, and
Right.
that does make you a little nervous. Okay, so I can see that you absolutely love doing this,
I do.
and I know you love teaching, and is still your greatest pleasure just the success that these teams have with communication classes. You said they got through it, they did a great job. I feel wonderful about that. Same with the debate team, or any of the groups. There's success there, maybe they're not successful. Is it still a satisfying feeling for you? And what's your greatest pleasure with the speech and debate teams?
We tell them, you cannot focus on the trophies. You have to engage in this activity and reap all the benefits from it for you, because there's only so many trophies they're going to give out. I tell my students that just by engaging in this activity, you are going to be one of the best public speakers, just as far as public speakers go out there in the world. Just by standing up in front of a panel of judges and your competitors, talk about being judged, you're literally being judged.
Yes.
Having the courage to stand up there and do that, and take public speaking to that level, and read these ballots that critique you, and then you make these changes to your presentation and go back out there again to the next tournament, you are just taking your public speaking skills and elevating it higher than anybody out there, in your future organization, your future place of employment. So whether you get a single trophy or not, and that's always been our mission, is focusing on their education and their experience. Not only that, aside from the public speaking skills, there's this whole other skill set they learn. They learn how to go into an environment, figure out the cultural norms, the rules of the game, the players in the game, how it all operates, and they've got to adapt to that. And they learn that. They study the games. They study the people who are winning. What are their strategies? What are the judges like? What are their preferences? What are their biases? And they learn even kind of the power of small talk and things like that, and even just in the hallways, in the elevators, in the food lounges, just how to work this game. That's a skill they can take into any organization that they ever find themselves a part of.
And that is so true. Even something like a job interview, just being prepared for that job interview, being able to speak with confidence. This has got to be helping those participants so much in just outside the academic world and getting involved in real life experiences. And you never know when you're going to be called on to say something. Maybe someone needs something said, and you're making the toast. And so you have some confidence. You've had some background in that. That's fabulous. I'm glad to hear this is going so well. and that you've got so many people involved and want to do it. I looked at, I was at the library one day, local library, and a group of Toastmasters were there.
Yes.
And I thought, okay, Toastmasters, you know, these are people, adults who are feeling they need the confidence to be able to public speak. And so it's just an ongoing thing, and they learn that there. Your students are learning it that much earlier.
I think Toastmasters is a great activity. I occasionally have students, and sometimes they're like older adult learners, who come to me and say, I can't travel, you know, once a month, and I can't commit this amount of time, but I really need something more than the classroom to focus on my public speaking because I'm going into this role and this job and things like that. And I always recommend Toastmasters in that situation.
Yeah, that's great. So there's another avenue for people who really need to hone their communication skills. There is a group called Toastmasters. I'm sure you can look it up and find that.
They're everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Well, Krista, I hope we covered everything you wanted to say. Is there anything else that you want our viewers to know? I mean, we've covered a lot of topics.
You know, just that I'm really grateful that I'm in a place where this activity, communicating viewpoints and critique of policy and things like that, is celebrated and supported. And Moraine Valley has always given us that. And I just wanted to say I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that's excellent and wonderful. I'm glad the program is going well, and I'm glad you've got such a group of eager students who want to do it and get out there and compete. And it's nice that they have an avenue to compete in. They might not be, you know, athletic that way, but they know they can compete with something like that, and that's always a good thing to do. Well, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
And thanks for watching us at Meet with Moraine. Next month, we'll see you again with a new topic, and we hope you enjoyed today's visit. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye.